This will be my last video on GH5s, and all there is left to talk about is ergonomics and to draw final conclusions. If you want to see my image quality and video recording reviews, check the links in the description field. Both cameras have equally good materials and build quality. Both are weather sealed. Both share the same basic control layout, but you wouldn't believe how different they feel in hand. First, the grip is differently shaped. G9 is deeper and taller. Top of the grip with shutter button is positioned higher than the one on GH5s. Thumb rest is better sculpted and offers supreme grip. GH5s is flat and doesn't offer as reassuring grip. Shutter button on the G9 is soft both for half and full press and responds very early in travel. GH5s has two distinctive physical clicks, both for half and full press. After a brief period of acclimatization, I prefer the one on G9. When I need to take a photo fast, just a light touch is enough to fire. Many of the buttons on the G9 protrude a lot more than their equivalents on GH5s. They also have a deep travel with excellent feedback. GH5s buttons have a very short travel. Back dial on GH5s is recessed, and in winter with gloves it can be a bit hard to get a good grip on it. G9's rear wheel protrudes and it is much easier to use, at least for me. At the front, G9 has excellent programmable mechanical switch and there are around 15 settings that can be assigned to it. I use it for silent mode. GH5s doesn't have it. There is just this useless Lumix logo at this position. What I missed a lot on GH5s is second programmable button at the front around the lens mount. G9 has two of them, both of which I use regularly. Even the power switch around the shutter button on the G9 is ergonomically in better position. Both cameras have joystick and sadly, on both of them joystick responds for horizontal and vertical movement only. Diagonal movement is not possible. At least pressing it resets focus point to center and back to previous location. Finally, G9 has a top status LCD. This is not relevant for everyone, but since I am used to DSLR cameras, status LCD is a great way to adjust basic settings without looking through the EVF or opening the LCD. Honestly, I never expected such a difference. In real life, these two cameras feel like completely different models, which they are, but still I was surprised how much more I liked the G9. I don't know which engineer or a group of them stands behind the G9 design, but they did a mighty good job. GH5s is not bad, don't get me wrong, but the G9 just handles so much better. In GH5s defense, it is obvious it is designed for video use when most of the framing will be done using the LCD or even external monitor connected over HDMI output. Looking at the camera and finding correct button or adjusting settings with touch LCD will not be a problem in such scenario. G9 on the other side is made for photography, and most users will probably frame shots using EVF. Better physical controls matter a lot, as they can be found by touch without removing the camera from the face. With most Panasonic lenses, focus is instant on both cameras. This is really excellent. LCD screens are identical in every aspect. Resolution, brightness, articulation, touch control, it's all the same and works really well. Electronic viewfinders are identical on paper, OLED technology and 3.7 million dots. G9 has different optical elements in front of it though, so it is bigger. In fact, it is so big there is a special button on its side used only to toggle display size in viewfinder. Simply put, both can be described as magnificent. I like how both cameras can go in red alert mode, perfect stuff for low light shooting. I was blown away the first time I tried G9s in body stabilization, especially when used with stabilized lens, as both can work together to achieve greater effect. Video looks like a gimbal was used, and still images at wide angle can be taken or 1 or even 2 seconds handheld. GH5s doesn't have IBIS. There seems to be two reasons for that. First, lenses would have a hard time covering multi-aspect sensor that moves around, and second is the fact this camera is targeted for high-end video production, where professional stabilization rigs are often preferred over in-camera stabilization. If you really need IBIS, there are G9 and standard GH5. Batteries are the same. They last around 2 hours of video recording or at least 400 still images. If you shoot in burst mode, it is easy to go into several thousand shots on a single battery. External chargers are bundled with both cameras. As a bonus, G9's battery can be recharged in camera and power can be supplied over USB. GH5s does not support any of that. Both cameras have twin memory card slots and various recording patterns, but only GH5 and GH5s offer uninterrupted on-the-fly switch while recording video. G9 cannot do that. Identical beside the USB port. Both support USB 3.0 transfer speed, but G9 uses wide micro B USB connector, while GH5s has Type-C connector. Identical except for various features which are not shared among these two cameras. Okay, it's time for conclusion. Out of the 3 Panasonic flagships, my favorite is the G9. This is the camera to have in Micro Four Thirds system if you mostly do photography. It is really impressive in terms of ergonomics, features and image quality, especially high resolution mode and image stabilization. It also does exceptionally good 4K 60p video, and if you don't need vlog flat profile or some specific video features, there is no reason to avoid it even for video work. GH5s is clearly hardcore video tool. Video quality is beyond impressive, especially in low light, where it does better than GH5 and G9 and even some full-frame cameras. GH5s is not for everyone though. It is designed for a specific subset of users who use tripods, gimbals, sliders, cranes or mount cameras on cars, planes and motorcycles, where vibrations might be too strong for IBIS. It could also be a good choice for low-light sports photography, as it is the best one in Micro Four Thirds system regarding high ISO performance. Lack of IBIS and only 10 megapixels might be limiting for some photographers though. Lastly, GH5 sits in the middle as a universal photo and still image camera. If you need 20 megapixels and could benefit from IBIS both for video and photography, buy that one.